and welcome to another episode of Nerd Age, where we discuss everything nerdy. My name is Mick, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Josh.
What's up?
Corey. Hey. And Jonah.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the show, guys. On today's episode, our main topic is going to be ranking the Batmen, because there's so many of them now.
There are a lot, actually.
With the new movie that just came out, we added another one to the roster, so we're going to rate our top 5, I think. We did a similar thing with the Spider-Man. We're going to do the same thing with Batman now. But before we get into that...
And with that theme of Batman, we're going to be doing a giveaway, our second giveaway ever.
Where's the sound effects?
It's a wild card. There you go. So we are doing a poster giveaway, actually, a unique one of one by Crystal, Josh's wife, an amazing artist. She made a sweet print. She's letting us give it away for free. Amazing. It's of Robert Pattinson's Batman. Really cool, kind of like shoulder up poster with like red scrawling of like Riddler stuff. Really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Really cool. Makes me want to win it, but I can't, sadly, but you guys can. Very simple. In all the descriptions of wherever you're watching or hearing this, there you can enter to win there. Very simple. Follow Crystal's Instagram, follow ours, whatever you want. But the more things you do, the higher odds you have of winning. It's a raffle. But yeah, make sure you do give us your email so we can contact you to give it to you. But we'll be running it for 2 weeks or something like that.
Yep.
But yeah.
And you can follow her on galactic _pedestrian on Instagram.
It's in the giveaway.
It'll be in the giveaway, but check her page out. She does some really awesome stuff. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, very excited about it. It's going to be sweet.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So we're going to do top 5.
Top 5. And like we've discussed before,
should we include Kevin Conroy?
No, Kevin Conroy is probably our number one.
Well, it's a good thing we brought this up.
We're not talking. We're not going to add the animated series. He'd be our number one probably for everyone at this table. So it just includes the live action movies.
Yeah,
live action.
So
Kevin Conroy was in Batwoman.
Yes, he was, but we're not using it.
Oh, okay.
That way you don't yell at us. Kevin Conroy is not on these lists, so you've been warned. Let's start with Corey. Corey, can you give us your? Let's give you.
Sure, why not?
Your number 5.
Yeah,
we'll start lowest to highest.
My number 5. I group all the old ones kind of together, and so Adam West is my number 5, and it's because I think that the Batman that he portrays is 100% different. It's on like a totally different level. And it's very intentional in what it is, very iconic. And it's just, it's kind of hard to compare it to other ones. And so like the ones below, like George Clooney and Val Kilmer, they're trying to be like the better ones that are higher on the list for me, but they just don't match up very well. And so I think they're worse. And so I'm just going to put in the unique guy, Adam West, my boy.
The OG.
The OG. Thank you, Family Guy, for being so iconic. Look, I'll fess up. I messed up the recording. We were about 10 minutes into our recording. We had to restart, okay? So we talked a little bit about this. So the first 3 are not surprises. So, Mick, what's your number 5?
Val Kilmer is going to be my number 5.
Whoa. Iceman?
What? He's probably, I think, underrated as Bruce Wayne more than Batman. There's a version of the film where it's more of a director's cut, and I think you had said that it goes more into it in the Val documentary. And Joel Schumacher has talked about this other version of this film too that I think would probably bring his ranking up maybe by 1. But for the theatrical version that we got, he's going to be at number 5. But I think he's actually a very good Bruce Wayne. Talked about his voice. I think is actually a very good voice for Batman. It just has a good like resonance to it that I think a lot of other ones don't quite get. Just naturally speaking. So yeah, I would put him at 5.
Yeah, my number 5, I was going back and forth between Adam West and Val Kilmer. And I'm going with Val Kilmer. Again, I'm taking some outside things, but if you watch the documentary, Val, it kind of made me appreciate the stuff that he went through while filming and while being Batman in that. And so that has kind of made me, I guess, think a little more about all the stuff he went through. The suit was terrible to act in, all this stuff. So I just think, for that reason, and what Mick has said, he's a great Bruce Wayne, actually. He doesn't get the best movies to be in. And I think the Schumacher cut, which people are trying to get released because they have it. They're thinking they might do like release the Schumacher cut on HBO Max. That would be interesting to see. They've actually dropped some like deleted scenes that are actually pretty interesting.
What if they could do like a 20-year anniversary?
That's what they're talking about doing.
So what that's,
I mean, people would watch it.
Was that 95 when it came out?
I think so.
Just around the corner.
So
we're all hoping for it.
Val Kilmer is my 5. What do you think, Choop?
I really want to just go against the grain and just make something up for my number 5. Because honestly, for
George Clooney, baby.
For the older ones, it's kind of a crapshoot for me. I do need to rewatch them. I haven't rewatched them in a long time. But like
they're very like cheesy.
From the experience, you know, from
I
what
almost bought the steel books.
You always,
I almost did.
Yeah,
They came out.
I will give an honorable mention. I know it's not a 5. For the guy from Titans, I actually don't even know his name. He's strictly just older Bruce Wayne.
Oh,
and
okay.
for as crappy and like uneven as that show is, he's actually really good as like an older Batman. But I think Val Kilmer is my number 5. Just like George Clooney. Spoiler alert, guys! George Clooney is not on the rest of my list.
Yeah, I don't think
but
he
he's
made
just
my
kind of
list.
like a.
His nipples didn't make it.
It's just like it's George Clooney. You know what I mean? Like he didn't never. Also, the movie that he's in is all over the place.
Yeah.
But for me, I think Val Kilmer does bring more of a good Bruce Wayne. He's a better Bruce Wayne than George Clooney.
It just felt like Val Kilmer did his homework.
Yeah.
And it feels like, I mean, this is just me watching the movies, but it just feels like George Clooney just
Like
kind of showed up
on set.
Yeah.
He's like, hey.
And it's funny hearing George Clooney talk about his time in the role, and he knows that he's terrible. He knows that it was a bad role, and like he completely admits it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the guy literally apologizes to fans if he ever goes to Comic-Con for that. He literally does. So he knows.
All right. Do we want to go, Corey, same order? Just go with your 4, or do we want to switch it up?
It. Yeah.
Okay.
Rotate it. Have you go for your number 4?
My number 4.
Yeah.
What was my number 4? So my number 4 is Michael Keaton. I think he's good as Batman. I think he's gotten surpassed by a long shot with what we've gotten recently. But I think his movies are good. I think he's a better Batman than he is a Bruce Wayne. I never really bought his Bruce Wayne.
100%.
And so for me, that kind of lowers it more. I think Jack Nicholson kind of steals the show in the first one, and overshadows him. And then Batman Returns to me isn't that great of a movie. So yeah, Michael Keaton is my number 4. I mean, I'm sure you guys will go into Michael Keaton a little more. We're going to see him. He's coming back. So we could see that he could go up in my rankings depending on what he does. Because apparently now he's the new Batman of DC. He's going to be front and center in The Flash. He's going to be in Batgirl. There's talk about him being in Shazam and other things. So, I mean, he could be the new, like, he's kind of like the Nick Fury, I guess, of the DC, what they want to do, which is kind of interesting. But, so he could potentially go up, but he's my number 4 at this point.
Yeah. Josh, what do you think?
I actually have Michael Keaton as my number 4 as well.
Yeah.
And I know for a lot of people, he's like the guy, right? Like a lot of people say, like, and it's probably because it was the first big Batman movie, aside from Adam West, like recently is like Michael Keaton. And it's probably, a lot of it's probably recency bias, but I do think that a lot of the more recent interpretations of Batman have just been better for me personally. And so that's why kind of like Michael Keaton kind of falls lower and lower on the list. A lot of the kind of the one scene that really comes up to me all the time is you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. And I'm like, it's just kind of a weird, you know what I mean? Like kind of a strange, I guess, interpretation of Batman, or like just a weird acting choice for me in those specific situations. But yeah, for me, a lot of the other Batmans that have been in live action are just better than Michael Keaton. So I got him at 4.
Yeah, I think that I really dislike the oldest ones, and so this one's just the less bad one for me.
Okay, yeah.
It's not that Michael Keaton was amazing for me. I don't think the Batman and Bruce Wayne that they wrote was amazing either. I actually think the villains had more attention. From who is the director?
Tim Burton.
Yeah.
What's that guy? What's that guy's
name? But he did I just remember watching the movie and being like, whoa, these villains are crazy. And Batman was kind of he wasn't the highlight of the movies. It was just kind of it was just weird. And it was still suffering from that late 90s, cheesiness. But also another thing that I think they kind of suffer from is because those older movies, they really, whether they want to admit it or not, but you can tell that they made a lot of the movies to sell toys and merchandise. And I think that those movies suffer from that. And so, but yeah.
You're saying specifically the Val Kilmer, Clooney ones?
Yeah, those, and a little bit this one, not as much. But the other thing is we grew up, this was the first live action Batman that I remember. And so I guarantee you there's people who have him higher on their list just through nostalgia and just kind of, a little bit of just their childhood memories. And so, but I mean, I don't know. I think it's better than the other ones, but not much. It's not a standout for me. I'm super questionable on the whole Val Kilmer carrying on the role into future stuff. I'm very interested to see how that goes. I'm not super hopeful, but who knows? We'll see. Don't you love Val Kilmer?
You mean Michael Keaton?
I mean Michael Keaton. Sorry,
I was really confused.
Val Kilmer.
Batman.
Oh my gosh,
they're all the same.
That's not good.
Yeah.
What's your number 4, Mick?
My number 4. I'm going to go against the grain. My number 4 is Adam West.
Oh, okay.
You kind of touched on.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You're running out of spots.
No. It's all good.
All right. I like this.
It's all worked out. And I know I'm gonna get.
I thought we were gonna go chalk towards the end.
I know I'm gonna get crap.
A bomb just got dropped.
I know I'm gonna get crap for this from a lot of people.
No,
but,
who?
We'll find
Jonah.
out.
Just Jonah. Got it.
Oh, maybe.
If Ben Affleck is not on your list, I'm walking out.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh
my god.
So you touched on it. I think Adam West is just. I feel like people of our generation look at that and be like, "That's not Batman. That's not how he is." It's just a different interpretation of Batman.
It was in the 60s.
He was very much like that in the comics in the 60s. That's how he was. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that's just really cool and unique about Batman in general, is that he can be, all the way to the left side like that and just be over the top, kind of corny and cheesy. Do you guys see the Batman Brave and the Bold, that cartoon? Mm-hmm. Same type of thing. But then you can go all the way to the other side and have, Christian Bale and Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson have the dark, broody, grittier
it's
take.
definitely evolved over these years.
Yeah. And it just
since the 60s,
both
crazy.
At least to me, both they feel like Batman to me. It just is different. Sure. And I think that he kind of has a monopoly on that style of Batman that nobody else. I think.
Yeah.
Like we said, I think George Clooney. That's what they were trying to do in that movie, and it didn't work. It was just bad. But I think that Adam West just he nails it, and he's so good at like that style of Batman that he gets my number 4 spot.
And your dad's a huge fan of that,
my
right?
my dad's. I mean, both my mom and dad.
Right.
That's like their only Batman. They look at the newer ones and they're like, "Why is he all dark and brooding?" That's not. Which that generation
I get that.
That's their Batman, and I get that. I totally get it. So
number 4. Wow.
But yeah, that was one of my earlier Batman movies I had seen. So it holds a place.
Nice. He has the best Batman voice too. Hands down.
Definitely the most unique.
All right, let's start with Josh. Give us your number 3.
3. Oh, yeah. Okay.
My number 3 is Ben Affleck.
Okay. Ooh. Nice.
All right.
Once we get into this section of my list, they're all pretty close. To be honest with you,
I know.
it's very close, and especially with Ben Affleck, it's like we didn't get him in a lot. You know what I mean? We didn't get him in a lot of movies.
We didn't get him in a solo movie,
right? So he was always like, I don't want to say playing second fiddle, but
he got cut short from some potential, maybe.
Right. But I do really like everything that he's in. I really like his Bruce Wayne, especially that in BVS, like the scene where he's at the gala, the fundraiser or whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
I just like his delivery on everything, or like his line about like, oh, what a newspaper do you, or he's like, oh, I own that one, or stuff like that. Like I feel like he plays a really good like smooth.
He's very like confident and cocky at
Right.
the same time.
Yeah. And so I really like his interpretation of it. And his Batman is very much like, is it the Dark Knight?
Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, Dark Knight Returns type of Batman. People are like, oh, he's so big. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like, he's pretty comic accurate.
Yeah.
As far as like
versions of Batman, that match.
Yeah. As far as like how like chunky he is and like just a tank.
Yeah, he
like,
would snap Adam West.
Yeah. Yeah. If they fought together.
Adam West would pull out his bat spray.
Yeah.
Shark repellent bat
Robin.
spray.
But yeah, for me, like I really like his I really do like his Bruce Wayne. I think it's one of the better Bruce Waynes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mick's turn.
Yeah, Mick.
Oh, Mick. Okay. I'm also going to go with Ben Affleck.
Wow.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool.
Very similar reasons to you. I think it's probably my favorite bat suit. I think it's the coolest looking one. The BVS one. I get caught up in like little details in the suit here and there with like Justice League.
Yeah.
I don't like his final suit that he gets
with the
goggles. I think it just looks bad. But yeah, in terms of just his where he is in BVS, it's completely different than what we've seen before. He's like completely off the deep end, just lost himself, and a lot of that has to do with him losing his Robin. And I know he gets a lot of crap for killing, but guess what? Every Batman in the movies kill. Like, you can't get away from it. Like, everyone does. So, get over it. Yeah, his fighting style is probably like the coolest. We've talked about it so many times. The warehouse scene is one of the best Batman moments.
It's the best Batman.
The best Batman
The
best. But yeah, and just his character arc that he goes through from BVS, seeing how broken and just gone he is, admitting that, he's a criminal. He's always been that way. And then going to a man of faith and believing in, people like Superman, where before he was like trying to kill him. And
right.
Like, so to me, I really like that arc, and it's worth the payoff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and like you said, like these last three, to me, it's like a photo finish. They're so close.
Yeah.
But I think just for the fact that we didn't get like solo Batman movie stuff with him, he's probably going to be in my third spot.
Okay. No, he is. Be confident. Say it with
He
your chest.
is.
There we go. That's what I like to see.
Go ahead, Sea-Dog.
Me? Okay. So I put Robert Pattinson at 3. This is, it's an interesting ranking for me because of the potential So right now in this moment in time, it is 3 firmly. There's no debate in my mind that other people are better than him for me because of the place that Batman is and the story that was told in one movie. This isn't really a fair comparison. It's just one movie. And so, but with the stuff that we have, it's got to be a firm 3. I think that the aspects of Batman that I love and are just so important for me in what I really love about Batman just isn't there. The duality of Batman and Bruce Wayne is he's fresh, right? He's brand new. There's not much development. This is the first movie, and I think if they make 2 more movies or something like that, that next movie could be amazing, and he could be number 1 for me. You know what I mean? So right now with 1, I think that if they could delve more into that duality of Bruce Wayne versus Batman, and also relationships that he holds with people in the city and with the city, I think could really up his score with me. I think that's a big part. But I really do like Robert Pattinson's, like, his physical acting. Like, his eyes were probably the best part about him. Yeah. The amount of emotion or, like, words that you could convey through just a look with his eyes is what makes me believe that he has so much potential to take the other guys out. So awesome. Like, he's going up against 2 other dudes who have so much more going for him just because of just more content and chances to do more with the character. I'm just a huge fan of, the full package of Batman. So that's why Pattinson's number 3.
And he's my 3 for really similar reasons. I kept going back and forth. I was like, well, can I put him above Christian Bale? But then the more I thought about it, I was like, if I'm going to compare, I think Christian Bale has 3 movies that I absolutely love, that I feel like he gets a better grasp or better arc of the character to this point. I really liked the Batman. I really thought Pattinson was great. But I kind of, as of now, after 1 movie, he is in the number 3rd spot. Number 3rd.
Yes, number 3rd.
But and that, I think he can definitely move up, because he's like, I actually had the thought of, is he better than Christian Bale? I like some of the stuff he's done. I like his voice better. I even like his suit better. Like, even that stuff is just aesthetics. It's not really, but that kind of stuff, I thought, the aspect of him and what they did with the sound, his footsteps being heavy, like all that kind of stuff was stuff I really enjoyed that I thought was done better. But at the end of the day, I'm like, man, Christian Bale and the other Batman that I have, the 2 that I have ahead, I just feel like they did a better job, and I enjoy them more.
It doesn't too much mystery to it.
Who could it be?
So for that reason,
I mean, is there any question?
No, Rob, you guys already know. Rob is my number 3. My number 3rd is Pattinson.
Cool. Is it me or you for number 2?
Well, you just went.
No, I'm saying I think it's Mick's turn to go number 1.
Okay.
Well, number 2.
I thought I did that last time.
I think you did. So
yes, Corey.
So my number 2.
I need more time to think.
Oh, you're good. My number 2 is Ben Affleck, for sure. I really enjoyed the late end of life version of Batman. You've already talked about it a bit, Josh. But it's just a very cool, very like interesting like view. The view that he has is very different from some other Batmans. And so I think the suit's cool. I think the combat's cool. I think that some lacking points for me is how Robert Pattinson like really is amazing with his eyes and stuff like that. For me, not as good for me from Ben. I also think that Ben suffers the same way as Robert does, because he didn't have like his own stuff. Like he didn't get. Yeah.
It's coming.
Hey, hold out hope till your deathbed. No, I'm just kidding. So that's something that I'm going to explain. Why my number 1 is my number 1 later. But it's not so much the negatives with Ben. It's more the positives are so good with my number one, which is Christian, obviously. But yeah, so
spoiler alert.
I mean, it's a process of elimination.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows. George Clooney.
Sorry, it could have been George
on the suit. We're on point.
But there's more to Batman than just the suit, combat, and stuff like that. And I think that he just doesn't have the full package for me, unfortunately. Okay. I think he offers a lot of really cool things. But unfortunately, he shares the spotlight with a lot of other characters, and so that detracts from them being able to spend a lot of time on him. So that's
hey, number 2 is still great.
That's why he's number two. Okay, you're not him. You're not Ben Affleck.
I don't think he gives a crap.
I think he thinks he is.
You never know. Ben Affleck could be listening to this right now and being like, "Yes, okay, I'm number 2 for."
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate you, man. Keep making more
like
movies.
and subscribe, Ben.
Get J-Lo to like and subscribe as well.
Yeah, there you go.
Want to run to Josh?
Yeah, let's go, Josh.
We'll just go like that.
Yeah.
My number 2, drum roll, is Pattinson. Sorry, let me give you a chance to roll.
Interesting.
That was a bad drum roll.
I thought you'd have him as 1.
Me too.
To be honest, like I said, it's really close on all 3 of these because I really do like Ben Affleck as Batman, and a lot of people don't. Pattinson, you're right, Corey. It's tough to compare it to like this is literally one movie we've seen.
Yeah, it's tough.
We haven't seen his Bruce Wayne persona.
Yeah,
because
developed
it
yet.
hasn't developed yet. In the movie, he talks about I'm a creature of the night. You know,
he is vengeance.
They really play into that whole thing. But as far as the Batman side of things, everything that I saw from Pattinson, the detective stuff is stuff that I really love about Batman. I really like leaning into that detective side of things. So that already put him up for me. And I think you're right, Corey. Like the acting that he does in his.
Keep saying I'm right. I love this. Oh my God.
You'll never see me say that about that
guy. He pointed at me for those listeners.
Just the emotion in his eyes, the emotion he conveys just with a look is like.
And that's
top
not
notch.
That's not on a script, brother. That is all Robert Pattinson. You know what I'm saying, dude? Brooding look.
Yeah. So for me, I'm probably to be honest, I'm probably grading on potential also. Like being like I can be like,
so are you okay? If you took it at how much value right now?
So that's why Ben Affleck's number 3 for him.
No, he would still be the same, but he would definitely like. I can see him being my favorite Batman. Very easy. Like in the next movie.
Far if they knocked it out
next
of the park.
movie, if he's good, he's jumping up.
Okay, all right.
I won't spoil.
What
my
if he's
number
bad?
one
Is he jumping down?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good to know.
But for me, Pattinson firmly number 2. But like I said, they're all really close. It's tough. It's tough to compare all these different movies.
It really is.
Because they've all done different amounts.
So how firmly is it if it's very close? You said
that's firmly in number. It's firmly in number 2.
But like I said, they're very close.
They're firmly close together.
But he's sure an inch away.
Okay.
Exactly.
He's so sure.
On my list right now, he's number 2. That's firmly.
That's firm, dog.
Number 2 for me is Christian Bale. I just think
Wow.
Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises are some of my favorite movies. I think it's one of the best trilogies ever, and that's ever. That includes Lord of the Rings and Back to the Future. I think it's one of the best trilogies. I love his stuff. The more I go back and look at it, I see more things that maybe I'm like, I really didn't notice that. I don't think his fighting is the best. When I go back, I think that's more on Nolan.
He has a stiffer fighting style.
Yeah. You get a bad director like Nolan.
Get out of here.
Bad director.
But so for me, there's that. I think if I'm going to nitpick on things, I wish he would have kept his voice from Batman Begins throughout. As he goes in the movies, it becomes more like,
it becomes a consistent like one thing he does all the time, no matter who he's talking to or what he's saying.
Yeah, and so I think, but like I said, that's a nitpick. I think the Heath Ledger, I think, is one of the greatest actors. I think they work so well off each other. Like the interrogation scene with him and Batman is, I love just watching that scene. To me, even The Dark Knight Rises, I know a lot of people don't like that. I love that movie. And I think there's just the element of sacrifice that Christian Bale does with his Batman, the element of, losing Rachel and all that kind of stuff.
Rachel.
I just think it's really well done for me. Yeah. And I think when I compared it to Pattinson, I was like, I can't, with one movie, put him over Christian Bale, because the three that he's done have been some of the best stuff we've ever gotten in any comic book movie. And so I think a lot of that has to do with Christian Bale. If I'm to nitpick, I don't like his Bruce Wayne as much. I like his Bruce Wayne in Batman Begins, but then I think it kind of, I don't know, he comes across more as like a spoiled, entitled, like rich, which that's fine, but there's something about his Bruce Wayne that maybe doesn't convince me as much, and that's one of the reasons I picked my number one, because I think it's the full package. And with Christian Bale, he's a little lacking for me in the Bruce Wayne department. But other than that, he's my number two.
Sure. Okay, man. This was really, really difficult.
I don't know how he's doing that.
George Clooney. Here comes George Clooney.
What is going on with your list? Your list is crazy. Is there a number 0?
Zero is a number, right?
Yes.
Right?
Not on our list.
Oh, okay. Well, my number
Not
two.
this reality.
My number 2 is Christian Bale.
Oh.
Man.
Oh.
We're gonna have a George Clooney number one.
Crazy. Okay.
Yeah. I'm piggybacking on a lot of stuff you said, but he, like, those 3 movies were like the first Batman movies I saw in theaters. Like, I grew up with like a lot of people felt that way about Keaton. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about Christian Bale. Batman Begins for the longest time was my favorite Batman movie. I think that Christian Bale does a brilliant job of playing so many different aspects of the Bruce Wayne and Batman character, and you can like clearly see the differences there. Dark Knight. What hasn't been said about that movie? It's probably the best Joker we've gotten, and like you said, they work so well together that it just makes his Batman so much better. Mm-hmm. And then he has such a good arc too throughout the 3 movies. He is built up as the hero that Gotham needs in Batman Begins. He takes the sacrifice in Dark Knight, and where do we find him in Dark Knight Rises? He's the recluse Bruce Wayne that we really hadn't seen before, and he's built back up and does the sacrifice thing again, but in a much more positive, truthful way. But yeah, there's a lot of nostalgia with Christian Bale for me. And I can, I'm not afraid to admit that. But yeah, man, yeah, the voice gets me a little bit, not as much as a lot of people. I agree. I think he should have kept the Batman Begins voice all the way through. Had no problem with that, but yeah, the number 2 and number 1 was really, really difficult. Because we do have these 3 movies that Christian Bale did.
It's okay.
We have the 3 movies that Christian Bale did that were just, in my mind, like the perfect Batman trilogy. But it was a tough choice, but he's my number 2.
Nice. What?
Did you number 2? Isn't it your turn to do number 2?
He did it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so we're not number one.
Number one.
Yeah.
All right. Who wants to start with number 1s?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys know what's coming.
Yeah, we're getting it out of the way fast.
Okay,
Yeah, get away.
Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is my number 1 Batman.
What?
I'm shocked.
I think Josh has already said stuff about. I think the suit is incredible. The look of Batman. I think BVS is one of the best comic book movies, if not the best comic book movie ever made. The themes in it are incredible. I love the fact that we get an already established Batman who has lost faith in humanity and everything because of what he's been through. And he's become a broken, cruel person. And he's given hope by Superman. And that arc that leads into Zack Snyder's Justice League, I just think is so well done. And I'm very disappointed that we haven't yet gotten the full arc. But from what I know of the arc, I think it was going to be something incredible, and I think we're still going to get it. So I'm also pointing this of the potential of there being more. I do think Ben Affleck is going to do more. And for me, it just comes down to his Bruce Wayne, like Josh said, I think is the best Bruce Wayne. The way he is smooth and smart. All his conversations as Bruce Wayne are intriguing and like you're glued to the screen. Anytime he's talking to Wonder Woman, like his interactions with her are really good. When he's talking to Superman, when he's talking to Lex, all that stuff I just think is really good. His conversations with Alfred, I think there's so much story written in that dialogue that if I think a lot of people that don't like the movies is because they weren't really paying attention to the dialogue, the conversations that are going on. And I just think that is one of the best stuff. The opening of BVS when he's running, like the shots of him running into danger for the people he loves while everyone else is running away, I think is amazing. And for that reason, he's my favorite. I think his acting is some of the best of any Batman. And I know Josh kind of joked about this, but I will argue with anybody that the warehouse scene in BVS is the single best action scene of any Batman ever. You can put up any fight scene. If you bring the Pattinson, like going into the nightclub versus the warehouse, if you do any Christian Bale fight scene versus the warehouse, I think the warehouse scene is the most epic, well done, feels the most Batman of anything. And for those reasons, Ben Affleck is my number one.
Yeah. Ben Affleck, like you were saying with him, like just in conversation, he always felt like the smartest person in the room. Like he was ahead of everybody. He knew where all the pieces were going. So yeah, I get that. I get it.
I really wish I could remember what the Alfred line is about penguins from the Justice League. That's all I could think of.
Winding, exploding penguin.
One longs for the days when the only thing you had to worry about was winding up penguins or something like that. Yeah.
Classic.
Choop, go ahead. Give us your one.
I mean, my number one is Christian Bale. I think it's, like I said, it's close. They're close. They're close. But
firmly number one.
But he's firmly number one.
But he's firm.
Firm.
And it's just, I mean, I think we've already kind of talked about it. The trilogy, like he's got that going for him. There is nostalgia involved, like you were saying, Mick. Listen, I'm gonna speak my heart. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's Christian Bale, that's who I grew up with. But for me, I really do enjoy his arc. Batman Begins, he's awesome in Batman Begins. The journey that he goes through. I think one thing you mentioned before, Corey.
Tell me I was right.
You mentioned like his interactions with other people, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that you get. I mean, you have 3 movies full of it where he's interacting with other people, especially like his Harvey Dent stuff where he's like, I want you. You're the hope for the city, not me.
Heart-wrenching.
And so like his journey to kind of set up Harvey Dent and then the change at, obviously the tragedy at the end. Spoiler alert, guys.
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it.
And then the
chills,
bat bumps.
The chills.
The speech at the end of The Dark Knight is amazing.
Yeah.
Like I'll sometimes just listen to it. You know what I mean? You just get pumped up.
It's so good.
It's so good. And then the change that he goes through in The Dark Knight Rises, same thing. I do like that different aspect of, he's the recluse, he's
broken.
Broken, and he needs to overcome that. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know what they say, but we always say this is awesome. And he's got to climb out of the pit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think beginning to end, he's my favorite Batman. His Bruce Wayne, there is some stuff with his Bruce Wayne that kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit. I think mostly it's the I was trying to run the red light kind of. I think that line is I've always never really liked. But overall, I think his Batman and his Bruce Wayne is good, and it's mostly because you get to see how he interacts with everybody. The stuff with Rachel, I feel like that would be a lot stronger if we had
Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes all the way
Thanks,
through.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, thanks, Tom Cruise. You jerk.
Dirtbag. Can't wait for Top Gun
Thanks,
2, though.
Thanks, Scientology. Anyway,
Man, you're really
Most
betting on the fact that
anticipated,
they're
baby.
listening to this. You're like, just in case.
hey, just in case, Tommy.
Hey, Thomas Cruise, you might be able to win a sweet Batman print. Like and subscribe.
But yeah, that's I think Christian Bale's the best Batman for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Me? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
it's Christian Bale for me.
By a mile, right, Corey?
It's actually by a lot.
Yeah.
Like if there were like slots, it'd be a couple slots higher. I don't know how you measure.
firmly higher.
Firmly higher.
yeah.
That's a unit of measurement. There's I 100% agree with what you said. I think I would add maybe more of it's just way more of the full package of my Batman. Right? Everyone has their own version of the Batman, what Batman is to them. This is getting kind of crazy. But you know what I mean? Like we grew up with the animated series and like just the Batman that we see in the Dark Knight and all the whole trilogy is just like exactly what I want what I wanted in a Batman movie. We had like Batman Begins, we get to see every part of his arc, like training and like him in his prime and him at a broken state end game. Like this is like an amazing, it was the full hero's journey. And so that's really the biggest reason why I can overlook, he changed his voice.
Yeah.
That does not take me out of anywhere. Like it's the only Batman, I don't know if it's the only Batman movie or Batman trilogy that like legit gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. Like it's very consistent because that emotional attachment with the characters and the people. And dude, the fact that you reminded me of Harvey Dent, I was just like, dude, yeah. Like it was so good. And that's not even mentioning the Joker, like at any point of that. So it's just like the duality of Bruce Wayne and Batman. Sure, you might not like Bruce Wayne a little bit because it's annoying or something like that, but he had 3 full movies, and I guarantee you there's moments in each movie that you could be like, that's not my favorite moment, because it's 3 movies, right?
Yeah.
And they're over 2 hours each, right? They're like 2.5. And so, I mean, that's a lot of movies. That's a lot of Batman. And if they all pretty much maybe not knocked it out of the park for you, maybe you didn't like Dark Knight Rises as much as the other ones, but the first 2 were super good. And I think The Dark Knight for me was the closest to a perfect movie for like a hero movie that that I've seen. So between the tech, between the action, between the relationships, between the intensity, between the stakes of the whole movie, the stakes were just high, and it felt high. Like in Pattinson's movie, I didn't feel that high stakes. It didn't feel like everything was on the line. In The Dark Knight, it felt like everything was on the line. And like when the stuff with Two-Face happened, like that's just like your heart sinks, you know? Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's hard to express my feelings on this, but that I think is the best I can do. And I don't think, like, if I'm being honest, I don't think when you guys say, there's a lot of nostalgia with it, well, I don't know. I don't think so. I actually did go back and watch The Dark Knight because I knew we were going to talk about this. So I watched it last week because you're like, there's a lot of scenes that are kind of weird, but it's still just really good for me. So yeah, I'm a sucker, I guess. I just really like those movies.
Sucker.
But it's just the full package, man. It's like Ben Affleck does some amazing things, and what he does is great. And so does Robert. But man, if you have to average out, the attributes of each, Christian Bale just, yeah.
I don't think
that's the only right answer.
I think like what Josh has been saying though is kind of true though. Like the top 3 are pretty close. So like it just comes down to like preference, you know. And so I don't
What
think
are your
there's
favorite
I don't think
aspects
there's
of
really
Batman?
a wrong answer. Like these,
Of course not.
you know,
This is our
to me it's
opinions.
kind of like that aspect where
Wrong.
wrong. Well, no, but like when you're talking about it, I can be like, yeah, I can see that. Like I can totally see that, you know. So that's pretty cool. Mick, final number one.
Okay, my number one.
Yeah. What is this?
I mean, I don't know. It's not. It's Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson is my number one.
Whoa. Let's hear it.
And I ranked it. The Batman is my favorite Batman movie. It was Batman Begins. Now the Batman.
The mantle has passed.
The mantle is passed
Callum.
on.
That sucks for
Kind
you.
of similar to what I said with Adam West, how he had a monopoly on that. I feel like Robert Pattinson has this weird,
like niche.
where he is such a different take on the character that we just haven't really. I think Ben Affleck kind of was in it a little bit, but then he still had the more alter ego, you know, Bruce Wayne. With Robert Pattinson, we just get this such a unique take that I was in love with it, like just immediately, and I just loved it so much. I think that something about his. I don't know if it's like his suit or something, but with the cowl, how it's not like just a constant like anger stare, but it just affects his stare so much.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those guys that's like a really big nerd about like, I want the white eyes on the cowl and blah, blah, blah. But like, it's so well done with his real human eyes that I couldn't imagine it any other way. So that just does a lot with his character. Just the whole persona of him, like, not caring about anything else but being Batman, and that's like his life it just hits so hard.
It's early Batman.
Batman. And that's another thing. Like as much as I love The Dark Knight Returns, the comic, I've always favored more towards the younger Batman. I think that's one reason why Batman Begins was my favorite out of those three. But so yeah, I like the younger year two aspect of the character. Gosh, yeah. I mean, a lot of it is tied in with the movie too, so it's hard not to separate, you know, just him as Batman and then
part of
how
it.
great and how much I love that movie. But yeah, I love just how broken he is as Bruce Wayne and just doesn't care. But he still has that arc where he realizes that he needs to be more than just the shadows, more than just the vengeance. He has to be hopeful as well. So I think we'll get a lot more of that other persona with Bruce Wayne in film 2 and hopefully film 3. I mean, I'd be very surprised if we didn't get a trilogy out of this new iteration. But yeah, just in terms of just balancing the physical aspect of him being Batman, the fighting, just the way he carries himself. It's not over the top. It's very subtle. And it's, I don't know. I always, like when I picture Batman, like walking around in a crime scene, I just picture him like very slow and methodical. And that's how he was in the movie. And it worked for me really well. Nice. And it kind of goes into just his relationship with, you know, Gordon. I thought that, you know, I think it was done the best in that movie. And it's said a lot about Robert Pattinson's take on that. And, yeah, like you said, it's so close between these three. But I think that for me, he just knocked it out of the park so much that it definitely solidly took my number one spot.
Firm.
Sucker. Stamp.
Firm.
So yeah, that's my number one,
Nice.
and I cannot wait. I know we all, but I can't wait to see more from him because I think we've only like scratched the surface with his character.
I will add one little thing. One note is a big determiner for me, which is a reason why all these movies are so close, is because I really enjoy the interaction and the relationship between Batman and the bad guy.
Yeah.
And that's why Pattinson's is really up there, because they did a really good job having that very interesting aspect between the Riddler and him. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I loved that aspect of it.
It was cool. It was creepy. It was just,
Yeah, it was perfect.
really well
It
done.
was the best Riddler, and it was just such an intriguing Riddler.
I don't think so.
You know,
Jim
animated
Carrey
series?
has
Oh,
something
Jim
to say
Carrey?
about
Dude.
the best Riddler.
You mean Jim Carrey as Jim Carrey? Yeah, you're right.
He was cosplaying as the Riddler.
I'm sucking your mind out, or whatever the heck he had. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a. I wasn't expecting it to be. I thought it was going to be more closer. But we kind of
we
differed.
had two
a lot.
Bales,
Yeah.
one Affleck, one Pattinson.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
good. It was good rankings, guys.
Where's Affleck for you?
It was 3.
3. Yeah.
Like I said, still super close.
Plenty
but-
of time, but room for more.
little room for more.
But yeah.
Faith, Alfred. Faith.
Gosh. Stop with this propaganda. Anyway, next
wait
week,
till the news.
Alfred's? Was that what we're
Yeah, ranking Alfred
Yes,
next week.
dude.
Stay tuned for that
Yes.
riveting episode.
Yeah.
Spoiler: It's Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. Michael Caine.
Mother father.
Okay, I don't know about that one.
You're crying. I go do that always. Everything to a baby boy.
Wow. That's pretty accurate.
I know. I practice all the time.
It's too bad we didn't make a poster of Michael Caine. That's really
that should have
Maybe
been the
Crystal
giveaway.
should have went that route. But yeah, just a reminder. Yeah, before you guys click off the video, enter the giveaway. We'll have it up for a couple more weeks. But yeah. Until next time, see you later.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.